everybody and welcome to Barcelona El-Prat airport here in Catalonia for another trip report. It's nearly 11 PM here and I've just arrived in from Dublin with Aer Lingus. The report for that trip is already up on my channel, so if you haven't seen it, then go give it a watch after this video. In today's video I'll be flying Barcelona's most popular route, which is the short hop to the island of Mallorca. This route is operated up to 23 times per day by 4 airlines: Ryanair, Air Europa, Swiftair and the carrier I'll be flying today, Vueling. Vueling is Spain's second largest airline behind flag carrier Iberia and is owned by the same parent company, IAG. They fly from Terminal 1 here in Barcelona, but I arrived into Terminal 2 on my previous flight, which meant I had to catch this bus to travel between terminals. The bus is located landside. There are no airside connections between terminals here, though that wasn't an issue for me as I was only flying with hand luggage. As it was late at night, the airport was empty, which meant passing through security was a breeze and I was through in less than 5 minutes. As my flight wasn't leaving until 6:25 the next morning, I tried to find a nice place to relax. But this was the best I could manage, and let me tell you, it was not particularly comfortable. But it beat laying on the floor, which I saw a few people doing. After watching some videos on YouTube, I tried to get some rest, and soon enough, it was 4 AM. I decided to go for a walk around the terminal to get back some of my energy. Before I show you some of the planes I spotted around, let's take a look at today's route map. As I said earlier, this is a short hop. We'll be in the air for less than 30 minutes, departing Barcelona from runway 07 right and arriving into Palma de Mallorca on runway 24 left. Our cruise altitude today is just 19,000 feet and we'll only stay there for 5 minutes. Despite it being extremely dark inside the terminal, there were just enough lights outside to get a view of a few planes. After grabbing some food from Burger King, I went to take a look at today's ride, which is a 15-year-old Airbus A320 first delivered to Austrian airline Niki in 2006. It has also flown for Air Berlin and Level previously, but has been in the hands of Vueling since November 2020. Its tail and wingtips are still painted in the colours of Level. Boarding started at 6 AM, 25 minutes before our scheduled departure, and was a very casual ordeal. I believe there were less than 30 people on our flight this morning, which was a big surprise to me. I assumed that on a route this popular it would be at least half full, even on the first flight of the day. My seat for today is 27A, although in reality I probably could have chosen whichever seat I wanted. Considering the lack of colour in this cabin, it does feel surprisingly bright, but maybe that's just because it's empty. We pushed back from the gate at 6:28 AM, and after a very long 8 hours in Barcelona, it was finally time for me to leave. Taking off over the coast gives amazing views on any flight, but when the sun is only just rising above the clouds, it looks even more impressive. Wow. I've flown Vueling a number of times now, and even as a short man, I feel squeezed in by these seats. This lack of legroom is crazy. Credit where it's due though, they do offer USB ports at every seat, which is better than a lot of airlines. On a 30-minute flight this is irrelevant, but for longer flights, especially if you use devices like I do, it's one of the best features for an airline to provide. By the time I'd explored the seat and cabin, we were already on our approach into Palma, with the views of its stunning landscape being the highlight of the flight. So what did I think of my flight with Vueling? First off, this was such a short flight with no in-flight service, so it's impossible to give a review of the service and soft product on board. However, I can tell you that this is not an airline that puts passenger comfort first. The seats are packed in with the least legroom of any airline I've flown with. Even on this short flight, it would have been awful if I'd had someone sat next to me. If you are over 6 foot, this is definitely an airline to avoid. And even if you're short like me, I still wouldn't recommend it for longer flights. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like and don't forget to subscribe to the channel so that you can stay up to date with all of my upcoming trip reports. Thanks for coming along, and I'll see you next time.